There's about 100 protesters, and I'm going to take you through this entire group here. A lot of homemade signs, if you can see, and then also look at it's crushed this car completely. But good news, if you look ahead, that is a good sign. Trees are being cut down. Face-to-face and on the phone, I spoke with Barry Morphew, giving me his side of the story on the record for the first time. But this kills germs while covering bigger areas. People here tell me that they plan to keep putting up a memorial for Bailey no matter how many times the police try to take it down. There is a lot of trees still on power lines like the one you see behind me, and is actually tangled up. Check out how powerful this storm was. This massive tree was uprooted and smashed into a shelter here at the park. Crystal Lee Kinney didn't say a word to the judge, and she didn't respond to my question as she walked into the Teller County Courthouse. It's 103 degrees. The shade, clouds, and cracking your windows will not protect your child. You can see detailed murals and graffiti, but it was this one that caught everyone's attention. Several of these surveillance video cameras around his home, and police say just the sight of them could scare off potential thieves. And it doesn't take me long to find the bones. We don't know what prompted this investigation and who's at the center of it yet, but at each door, check this out, is this letter through his truck in reverse right here, dragging the police officer 30 yards down this hill. The homeowners here say they saw the mail carrier throw out something on 2 separate occasions near this mailbox. It is very bitter cold out here at Memorial Park. The community expects a large turnout for Kelsey, or just to say thank you, all while staying at a distance. On Mother's Day, Suzanne Morphew's daughter texted her mother and never heard back, so she called a neighbor asking them to check the family house.
And she said, Barry, Suzanne is not at the house, her car's here, but her bike's missing. And I said, that doesn't sound good because she's not answering me either. I'm coming home right now. And that was at 5 o'clock Sunday evening.
Suzanne's husband, Barry, tells me he was about 160 miles away at the time working on a job in Broomfield.
Suzanne went on a bike ride every day, Lauren. She was an avid biker. If she did not bike around the subdivision, she biked on trails. I don't remember how the conversation went, but I probably said something like, is her bike there? Because her car was there and she's gone.
The Chaffee County Communications Center received a report of a missing woman at 5:46 p.m. on May 10th.
I rushed home, left all my tools at the hotel, called my workers, and said, I've got a family emergency. You're going to have to figure this out on your own, and went directly to the site where the bike was.
And the desperate search for Suzanne Morphew began.
Her investigation still remains the top priority of the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office.
That was Sheriff John Speasy in the single press event since May 10th. That day, he seemed he understood the significance of Suzanne's disappearance.
It has a big impact in our community. We're small, pretty tight-knit, and there's a lot of people that are concerned about this. But you know, it's not just locally. I've seen a lot of concern nationwide.
But since May 15th, updates from law enforcement have been hard to come by, not by email or phone.
Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, this is Mark. Can I help you?
Hi, yes, I was hoping to speak with Sheriff Speasy. Is Sheriff John Speasy in?
I'm not sure if he's in his office or not. I could transfer you to his voicemail.
Not even in person. It's been almost 2 months with no update about the Morphew case, and just seeing if I can
Right. He continues to tell us, just to tell everyone, he will not be issuing any statements at this time or a press release.
Okay. Well, I'd rather just hear it from him. If he's in today, I'll come back. I'm going to speak with the sheriff.
He's not in the office today.
At all?
At all.
And our crew, expecting to find flyers or posters about the Morphew case at the sheriff's office, was surprised to find none.
I think that's crazy. I didn't know that. And I know for a fact that the sheriffs are embarrassed in how they handle the investigation, and they just want to crawl under a rock about it. So maybe that's why.
Tornado hit our neighbor. It's just real frightening.
2 Tuscumbia family members trapped under rubble until the oldest son, J.C. Brooks, came to do whatever it took to save his 91-year-old mother.
Standard strength. Oh, I wouldn't have quit until, that's my job. I'll lift things.
He picked up and held the center part of the roof until rescue crews came.
It was a big beam. He squatted down, got on his shoulder, enough to get his mother out.
Like I said, I done what I had to do.
Neighbors and friends speak highly of the Brooks family who grew up here.
Good old people. I mean, just good. You won't find no better people.
Another remarkable find the family tells me is this Bible left open on the dresser. The house around collapsed, but the Bible was untouched by the storm. And believe it or not, this isn't the first tornado this family endured and survived.
When my mother was small, this was her father, and he got swept away with a tornado.
He asked if the other phone on his account, if it was destroyed, if anyone would be able to get information off of it. And it wasn't done in kind of a normal circumstance. We get people all the time that, I ran my phone over with the backhoe or whatever and would like to get my pictures off of it. It wasn't a typical question. He also kind of hesitated halfway through the question, almost when you're asking a question that you shouldn't ask, kind of paused and asked me if the other phone on the account was destroyed, would anyone be able to get information off of the phone?
With Barrett's baby in hand, this witness added Frazee also asked him if they could reset the security pin code. But when Frazee was told they couldn't, he wasn't happy.
That's when he kind of just lost it and just became very nervous, very anxious, very apprehensive, was speaking louder, not yelling or anything, but just was becoming very heightened in his emotional state as he was realizing that he was not going to be able to kind of lock down the account like he wanted to.
This witness also told me that Frazee had came into his store days before this visit asking another employee for a new cell phone because the one he had, the FBI took it. When one employee was getting the new phone for Frazee, another employee overheard Frazee saying some alarming words.
And apparently he was rocking back and forth and was loudly whispering to himself, "I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it," just like over and over and over and over again.
When this witness heard the news about Frazee asking another inmate in the Teller County Jail to kill witnesses before the trial, he took steps to protect his family and himself. This is why he also didn't want to show his face.
It's pretty unsettling to hear that he was trying to put hits out on the witnesses, but for the most part I feel like I've taken as many steps as I can to kind of protect myself and my family. I'd much rather be overcautious than underprepared.
This man helped investigators zero in on Frazee and is relieved the jurors made the right call finding Frazee guilty on all charges, sending him to spend the rest of his life behind bars.
At the end of the day, I knew what I was doing was the right thing to do, and I wanted to make sure that I brought justice as much as I could to Miss Barrett and her family.
He hopes that if others were in his position, they would do the same thing.
I've never been one to keep my mouth shut about anything. If I think something's wrong, if I see something that I believe is wrong, I'm definitely going to speak out about it. I mean, in these days, a lot of people feel like there's not much we can do to create any kind of social impact. Luckily, we live in a country, though, that you have free speech, and that's the one thing you can always do is speak out if you think something's wrong.
Hundreds of kids walk these hallways multiple times a day, but two unlikely students cross paths. Austin Hines, a kindergartner, and Legend Washington, a fourth grader. Did you see the similarities? Look again.
He just kept smiling. I said, "Does it feel good to see somebody that looks like you?" And he said, "Yeah, it does."
Austin smiled ear to ear when Legend introduced himself and gave him a hug. The assistant principal witnessed their first interaction.
It was really beautiful, but I think it's probably the first time he's ever experienced awe. But he just stopped and he looked at Legend and took a breath, and he looked at me and he said, "He's got hearing aids just like I do." And I said, "That's right, he does. What do you think about that?" And he couldn't even form words. Just his breath was taken away.
Now they are best friends.
It's kind of good to somebody have hearing aids with me, and we both can be friends. We can be friends because we both have hearing aids.
They can help each other navigate how to explain to other students why they have hearing aids and how they work.
But his thing right here is blue, mine, we both got the same thing like this, it's red.
A simple connection that means everything.
I like to play with him every day.
Yeah, you want to play with him every day? Why is that?
Because you have hearing aids just like me.
Legend also teaching Austin a thing or two along the way.
One hand. Good job.
And making sure he keeps on smiling.
You okay?
a newfound friendship to share for many years to come.